What's going on, guys? My name is Mr. Hurricane, and I'm here to talk some NCAA Football 14 with you guys today, and I'm talking about Dynasty Mode coach skills, and this information is a little over a week old now, but in my last news video, I asked you guys if you wanted to see me talk about this stuff anyway, and there was a lot of people that wanted to see me break it down a little bit, and so I am. I really like Dynasty Mode in NCAA 13, and I'm excited to see if the new recruiting and the coach skills can make Dynasty even better. And I think the coach skills are a really good concept. It's an RPG element that makes your coach matter a lot more. In NCAA Football 14, we're going to see our coaches have a lot more on-field effects, and a lot of effects that affect recruiting as well, and we can control our coordinators. So I'm going to break down first what you do as a head coach, and you'll have two different skill trees that you can work with: the game management and the recruiting. And each one of these tiers is going to have a lot of different skills that you can upgrade and where you can focus on certain aspects of either your recruiting game or actual on-field effects that fit the way you play. And I like this concept a lot because now your coach obviously matters, and the more you play and the more success you have, the better your coach is going to become, and the more on-field effects you'll have, and the better your team is eventually going to become. And so first I'll break down the skills within the game management tier, and these ones are all about the on-field effects. And so I'll break down the skills, and I'll have an article in the description from EA that you guys can go and check out all this information yourself, but I'm laying it out for you in this video. Antifreeze, that's in the bottom right hand corner, and that is nothing gets to your kickers, nothing. And basically here, this is going to make ice the kicker less ineffective the more you upgrade this skill. And each skill can be upgraded to level 3, and they're only showing us what level 1 does in this article, so it's a bit of a secret what the rest of the way goes, but you can just pretty much guess that it'll go up in percentages for a lot of these things. So ice the kicker can become ineffective, and level 1 will make it ineffective 50% of the time. Road Warrior, no controller vibration, and that's about the home field advantage and how your controller will vibrate, and they have your play art be all messed up. So no controller vibration for Road Warrior is level 1. I'm assuming as you go up level 2 and 3, maybe the routes will be less scrambled in the play art, which makes sense to me. Matchup, find the best mismatch and then attack. All matchups are shown from the offensive point of view. And so passing matchups are going to appear in pre-play coach cam, and that's the level 1. So you're going to kind of see where your players match up against the defense, which is a really cool concept, and I like that. Setup artist. Successful run plays will set up the play action passes faster and vice versa. Obviously, they have those chain plays that you can get in NCAA 13 that make certain plays more effective. And what level 1 will do will decrease the yardage needed for setup plays by 10%. Choose plays that are in the same formation type, pass or run. Clean laundry. Play disciplined and avoid costly penalties. Caution. Increasing team aggressiveness will cancel this skill, and so computer is 50% less likely to cause penalties. And that's big if you get a lot of holding penalties on special teams or pass interference. It depends on what's going to be effective in the game, because usually it's just holding and like false start. And moving on, we have Light a Fire, and I like the concept behind this one. Players can get hot and cold. Call a timeout to fire your team up when they need it. Hot players get performance bonuses. And level 1 is call a timeout to get all cold or lower players back up to normal. And so it's a way to kind of kill momentum, or you use it in a realistic situation, like maybe after on a pivotal third down play perhaps, or maybe if you give up a big play on defense, you can call a timeout and kind of settle your defensive guys down and get them off their cold streaks. And I like this one. I want to see what the other levels are for this one. This one might be a one that I use when I play the game. And next we have Big Game. The bigger the game, the hotter your team starts. Hot players get performance bonuses. Level 1 is your team starts off hot in rivalry games, and this kind of ties into momentum as well, and it gives your team kind of an identity, whether you're a team that gets off to hot starts or you're a team that kind of heats up towards the second half. There's just a lot of different things in the real game that's hard to translate to a video game, and this is what they're trying to do to get those elements in the game. It's the whole reason behind these skill trees, and I like the concept. Next, Coach Tradamus. Learn which plays and play types your opponent calls so you can be a step ahead. Level 1. You are shown your opponent's previous called play. This can be seen in the upper right hand of the play select menu. And so with this, you can kind of see what formations and plays your opponent is calling, and you can game plan accordingly. And the last one for game management is clutch. Your team always seems to get hot in high pressure situations and perform better. Hot players get performance bonuses. Level 1 is you start the fourth quarter hot if the score difference is 14 or less. And this will help you make comebacks. And I can see this one being one of the most commonly used skills in the game management tree. Now we're going to move on to recruiting, and we have 9 more skills for recruiting. And remember, as a head coach, you can also determine the skills used for your coordinators, and so there's even further on-field effects. We haven't really talked about attributes to this point. It's mainly some minor boosts here and there, some bigger than others. But now recruiting, and this is a huge part of Dynasty. One of my favorite parts is scouting new talent and building my team, because I'm a team builder when I play these games. And so, we'll start off with Locksmith. Get back into locked out recruiting battles. You can unlock up to 5 prospects in a year, but you must be in the prospects' top 10 and have offered a scholarship. And so if you're below a certain point threshold or the player isn't currently considering your school, you can use Locksmith, but level 1 is open 1 locked recruit per season. You need to be within 2,000 points of the last place team to use this skill, and so you can't use it in all situations, but you'll be able to use it in a lot most likely. Next is scouting. You have a knack for discovering some of the best high school talent in America. You can scout more efficiently and for less. Level 1 is increased scouting efficiency, allows you to uncover around 25% of a prospect's true skills each week for 50 points. And this is all about scouting and finding their actual attributes and what these players really are. And being able to find their ratings faster will make it easier to narrow down. Maybe if you're looking at one quarterback, you can choose easier and more quickly who's the guy you really want to chase after. Next is royal treatment. Your entire staff goes the extra mile to make sure prospects have good visits. You will receive a bonus of plus 250 points the week a recruit visits your school, and that's level 1. So extra points for visits if you want to really focus on that aspect of your recruiting game. Next is the opener. You have an early edge on your competition during recruiting. Increase your recruiting points total by 500 points in weeks 1 through 7. And so with this one, and the closer is basically the same thing except for it's late in the season. That's plus 500 from weeks 8 through 15. So you figure out if you want to have more points in the beginning of the year or later in the season. Next is letter of intent. You really know how to close out the deal on signing day. You gain 1,500 extra recruiting points for the off season and a 5% chance you will steal a prospect from their top school. Pipelines. You specialize in getting to know high school coaches. Level 1, you only need 5 players minimum from a state to declare it a pipeline. 6 is default. And so this will make it easier to have multiple pipeline states, and in the past you've always gotten bonuses for recruiting within your pipeline. Kitchen sink. Your work ethic is second to none and it pays dividends on the recruiting trail. You can assign even more points to a prospect each week. Level 1 is that each recruit can have 50 extra points assigned to them each week, and I believe the cap each week is default 500, so if you want to maybe go higher on some of those top recruits, you can use this one and dump more points into them. Next is insta-commit. You've got the gift. Nobody makes a better first impression or closes a deal faster. You must be that prospect's top school. Level 1 is you gain a plus 5 chance of an instant commitment when you offer a scholarship. And I like that they made it so you have to be the prospect's top school, because I don't want it to be just you can level this up and it's completely lucky and maybe you end up with a really good chance of just throwing a scholarship at anybody and they commit. But now you have to be in first place, and this eliminates you having to battle against teams that are lower than you, where you're already the top school and you can just get them to sign faster kind of. So I like the insta-commit idea. And that is all of your responsibilities and skills as a head coach, but you also have control over your coordinators, and this is a big part of the game as well. And if you're playing as a coordinator only, this is what you control and all you will control. So offensive coordinator will start with up tempo. And with this skill, you will stay healthy, fatigue more slowly, and prevent injuries. This skill is perfect for up-tempo teams. Level 1, players gain plus 2 to injury and 10% increase in stamina for games. And this makes a lot of sense for teams that want to run a lot of hurry up. And I like this one just from a regular standpoint of I want my guys to get hurt less. And so this is a good skill for the offensive coordinator. Ball security. Stress the importance of protecting the ball. Players gain plus 1 to carrying for games. That's level 1. That's a direct impact on the field right there, an attribute bonus, and I like this. Next up is cannon. Be ahead in the arms race. Train your players to be better passers. Level 1 is your quarterbacks gain plus 1 to throw power and throw accuracy. And obviously if you want to focus on building up your quarterbacks, then you want to focus on the cannon skill. Air traffic control. Never underestimate the importance of solid receiving mechanics. Get your halfback, fullback, tight end, and receivers ready for games. Players gain plus 1 to catching, plus 2 to spectacular catch, and +2 catching traffic at level 1. That's a lot of boosting right there from 3 attributes, and it's minuscule, it's +1 and +2, but once again, I like this concept a lot. And now your coordinators are really going to matter. And I remember playing like Madden 12 when you would pick head coach and coordinators, and they would have like 1 or 2 attribute boosts or declines. And this way is just so much better. And I love how they're making the coaches actually important. Next, we have Daylight. Everyone has to carry the rock sometime. Condition your players to be able to run with a ball at game time. At level 1, players gain +1 break tackle, +2 spin move, and +3 elusiveness. A Bulldozer. Your offensive line knows how to open up the gaps and control the line of scrimmage. Your run blocking is stellar. Your offensive line gains +2 impact blocking for games at level 1. Great Wall. The best offense is behind a great wall. You develop good pass blocking technique, and your offensive line will gain +1 pass blocking at level 1. Mathlete. You believe football is a game of brains. Players gain +1 awareness at level 1. And I see that helping out a lot with your lower rated players, like maybe if you're building up a small school and you have some players that are getting playing time in the low 70s, high 60s. A lot of times their awareness is a really low rating. And next is Athlete, the last one. Physical conditioning is the core to any star player. Players gain +2 agility, +1 strength, and +1 acceleration at level 1. And that concludes the offensive coordinator's skills. We'll move on to defense now. And we begin with Road Close. Your players get off their blocks quickly to stop the run. And level 1 is your defensive players gain +1 block shedding. Recharge. Stay healthy, fatigue slower, and prevent injuries. Perfect against up-tempo teams. Level 1 is your players will gain +2 injury and a 10% increase to stamina. And boy, this one would definitely come in handy in the UTSA Dynasty because every team it seems I play wants to run that hurry up. Charge. Your tenacious pass rush causes fits for the opposition. Level 1, your defensive players gain +1 power moves and +1 finesse moves. No fly zone. Your players are very disciplined with their zone coverage assignments. Your outside linebacker, middle linebacker, cornerback, safeties will gain +1 zone coverage. Shut down. Lock on a receiver and shut him down. Your cornerbacks, safeties will gain +1 man and +2 press coverage for games. Tackling. Nobody gets away from your defenders. Level 1 is your players gain +1 tackle, +1 pursuit, and +1 hit power. I like this one quite a bit. Next is Ball Burglar. You play a very aggressive style of defense, always going after the ball. Level 1 is your defensive players gain +1 catching, +2 spectacular catch, and +2 catch in traffic. This one's obviously all about interceptions and facing those airing it out offenses and trying to get away more turnovers. Pure Instinct. You believe that defense runs on instincts. Players gain +1 awareness and +2 play recognition at level 1. Last one is Athlete. You know the best way to channel and focus raw talent. Level 1 is your players gain +1 speed, +2 agility, +2 acceleration, and +1 strength. That one's going to be used quite a bit because it has speed and it's 4 total boosts within this one athlete skill. And so that is the breakdown of level 1 of every coach skill in the game. And after going through all of these, I have to say I'm really excited to see what the other levels are going to be because I want my coach to have a bigger effect than they ever have in the football games that I've played before. Just because, you spend so much time building your team and building up your coach, yet you've never really felt like your coach has mattered that much. And I want the difference between a Nick Saban and a coach that's just beginning to be kind of major. Then there should be a gap between those guys. And now I think you're going to have a reason actually to fire coaches or coordinators, especially if you're going to change schemes and you want to get guys who maybe are really high rated at boosting up zone coverage. You want to run more of a zone scheme, or you're switching your offense and you want to go to a spread offense, so you get a coach that has a bunch of boosts to the quarterback. And so I want to see how much, kind of at higher levels, how much these things really affect the game, because I think this could be a great addition to Dynasty, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. And I would love a concept and the mechanics here with the coach skills to be put into Madden, because I like what they did with some of the XP things you could gain last year. But to me, this is a better way of having an RPG element that really makes your coaches matter and have on-field effects. And leave your thoughts in the comment section on these coach skills. I obviously like the idea a lot, and I want to see what you guys think. And let me know what skills you'll be looking to use most in this game. I found a bunch in this one that were a really good idea that I'm going to apply to my coach when I get in NCAA 14. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.